Andy Emmerling and my wife Erin. As far as our story goes, I can remember Erin calling me. I was on my way to work, and she called me and told me that the baby had been born.
The baby was spontaneously born at home. He was, we named him Elijah William. That's when I had to call Andy, and I was bleeding a lot.
I hurried up, and I had to turn around in the emergency lane on 74 and flew home as quick as I could and walked inside the house and held my son. And she was obviously upset and distraught. And it was just, didn't really know what to do at that point. It was, we had to get her to the hospital so that we make sure she was okay.
So we had to rush to the hospital. We had 3 children already at this point, so, oh gosh, like, 4, 3, and 2 or something. So we had to call my mom to come over. And I remember one of the first things that she said was like, "How are you sure?" Like, Mom, the baby's like right here.
Yeah, you could.
You could tell he was just perfect. And you could tell he was a little boy. They took care of me, and we got out of the hospital and went home. And I remember like getting on the internet looking like, okay, I'm looking at funeral homes. Where am I gonna, how are we gonna bury this baby,
Right.
We looked and looked, and I couldn't find anything. I'm like, there's nothing, there's no information. My mom even had already taken steps to try to like look for information, and there was just nothing out there. And it just happened that Andy's mom and dad, knew of Heaven's Gate Ministries. They had been donating to them. They were like one of the first donors to Heaven's Gate Ministries. So when we were able to talk to them and they mentioned it, we found out this information, and they got us in touch with Donna and Jim, and we found out that they had this website, and I was still kind of bedridden a bit. So Andy and his parents went down to Donna's house, because she was doing this out of her house at the time. And I was able to look at the website, and we looked at the pictures of the caskets, the beautiful caskets. I loved it. It was cherry wood. I don't know why, it just meant something.
You always like cherry.
Yeah. And so I said, I really want that one. That's the one I want my baby in. So they went down, and they took care of all that. And Donna was great, because I didn't get to talk to her right away, but Andy got to talk to her, and he said, she gave us all these books for the kids to talk to them, and there's all this stuff and just all this information. So it was just wonderful. And so we were able to bury our son, and it turned out that we got to bury him with my grandma. So he's with my grandma, and we had a graveside service.
Don and Jim were super supportive, and without them, I don't know what we would have done, because there was nobody else that had any kind of
if your baby wasn't, and if your baby wasn't big enough, like almost a full-term baby, even full-term, there wasn't like a casket. They didn't have anything like that. So it's just wonderful to be able to, it's a baby. No matter what age it is, you want to be able to bury that baby. Sometime in 2014, we found out we were expecting again, and we were super excited. We went in, the doctor was going to find the heartbeat, and the first time, we didn't even know there was an issue. Like, it just spontaneously happened. This time it was, we can't find the baby's heartbeat. Super devastating. Had to go to have an ultrasound to confirm it. Actually, this time had to go to the hospital, be induced. We already had Donna and Jim to help us. We contacted Donna. She offered to be there for us if we wanted. That wasn't something we chose to do. We decided that, we wanted to do that on our own. but we knew that she was a call away.
Right.
We were induced with that one, and it turned out another little boy. He was born on November 18th of 2014. He was about 15, 16 weeks, so just a few weeks more. Not too long after that, we found out we were expecting again. This time, we found out again, it's kind of almost the same exact thing. No heartbeat, and had to go have an ultrasound to confirm it, and had to be induced again. And what was a little difficult was, the doctors are kind of like, well, we'll get you scheduled for it. And it's like, you don't understand, like, this baby is inside me, and he's gone. And
Right.
I need him to be born. So they helped us out with that. And yeah. So we had went to the hospital again. We were induced, and kind of all the same process. And again, not too long after that, we found out we were expecting again, and we did discover that after this third loss that I had a genetic condition that was possibly causing some blood clots to our children and causing them to pass. So the doctors figured out some things that they could do for me that I could try to carry the baby. And this time we went in, and I knew I was pregnant, took the pregnancy test, and we went in and had an ultrasound right away. So I was like, I think 6 weeks along, and I'm sorry, it looks like an empty sac. So we're just kind of like, really? Gosh, we thought for sure this time. And so they said, well, we're gonna have you come back next week and be checked and everything, have another ultrasound. We went in for the next ultrasound, and they said, oh, there's a heartbeat. And there's 2 babies in there. So we're like, oh, that's exciting,
Wow, right.
And so we're like, okay, but the doctors just really weren't optimistic because they found that the babies were both in the same sac, so that wasn't a good thing. So kind of knew, because I had to keep going in and having blood tests and things, that probably wasn't going to stay around. And it was right before Thanksgiving. And Donna knew what was going on. She was there. She told me exactly what was going to happen, what to expect, what I needed to, because this would be something that I'd do at home, to have to take care of the babies and stuff. And it was just like having a baby. I had contractions and was basically in labor to deliver the babies. And they were born a couple of days before Thanksgiving. And I called Donna, and she was wonderful. Luckily, she lives very near me, and she came to my house after I delivered the babies because she offered. I told her, I said, they're here.
I don't know of anybody else who does what Heaven's Gain does. I mean, they're it. So that's without Donna, there's no support for people who want to bury their baby and want to have that closure. Heaven's Gain is the place to go. I mean, and I would definitely recommend anybody who's had a loss to seek out Heaven's Gain.
I mean, just from our experience, like when, a little over 10 years ago, like there really wasn't anything. But I mean, Heaven's Gain was there, but Donna and Jim have fought and gone to funeral directors and to these hospitals, and we have this service, help people out. Like, they need this. This isn't, you had a miscarriage, let's never talk about it again. You need to talk about it. That's how you heal. That's how you get through life. You have to. And I know that, Heaven's Gain has these support groups and things like that are so important, and they're out there, and they wouldn't be out there if it weren't for them.